Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, as you can see, we're making another homebrew and we are making some wine from a grape juice. I was super excited when I popped into Tesco's and actually seen some grape juice for sale. Believe this or not, for some reason it's actually disappeared off sale in many supermarkets for years. The reason I was super excited because when I started my brewing adventures, one of the first things I ever did, I brewed my basic wine with the grape juice. I just literally used the grape juice and the yeast and it turned out to be a-okay. Though it was a little bit one-dimensional and a little bit flat in flavor. However, it is kind of understandable when we're just using two ingredients. However, guys, after practicing a little bit those days, I come up to a very nice recipe and I was absolutely gutted that I couldn't recreate this until now. So the idea is, guys, rather than just having a basic sort of flat wine, we're trying to recreate something like a really nice Rioja. If you try the Rioja, you will know they share really nice woody and kind of pruny type, datey type flavors, and I absolutely adore them. But of course, at the prices those bottles are, many of us won't be able to afford to drink them, and neither can I in the big quantities. So there we are, of course, guys, making this recipe. You are going to absolutely love it. If you love your wine like I do, the red wine, guys, then this recipe is for you, and it could not be simpler. So what we're using is 6 liters of the red grape juice. Of course, guys, in the different countries, you gotta be a different brand. However, it's just red grape juice. Okay, we'll require 1 kilo of normal sugar. We'll require some pitted dates. Okay, we only need 2 handfuls. Okay, I have some cloves, and again, we only need a couple. Okay, and I'll be using the Lalvin yeast. So, guys, without further ado, let me get hob and let's get going. Voila. Okay, so first things first, guys. Okay. We're going to open up one of the juices here and we'll put this in. As you can probably see, that is a very darkened color. It's pretty much like the concentrate. Okay, so one in. Next thing we're going to do, guys, we're going to be adding on some pitted dates, okay? As I said, we're going to be using a handful, which will be approximately like 200 grams. Okay, 2 handfuls. So, handful going in. You can chop them up, but it really makes no odds by the time we cook them up. That'd be fine. So, 2 good handfuls or a couple 100 grams. Okay, excuse the whistling if you can hear this. We have a terrible storm outside right now. Sunny, but windy. Right, so, we're going to put this on. Okay, trusted old wooden spoon. 20 years old it is. The idea is, okay, with the dates, we'll move them up, trying to get that flavor out of the dates. Pretty much like what we do when we add on raisins to it as well. Dates have that really strong, sweet, kind of woody flavor. So if you haven't tried it before, obviously give them a go. They're really nice as a snack, but they actually do make a hell of a difference to the wine. And you'll be actually surprised. The color and the flavor is going to be amazing. So next thing as well, guys, we are going to be adding on a couple of cloves, and we literally only want a couple because we're not making a mulled wine. We are making obviously normal wine. We just want to have that slight bitterness and smokiness that the cloves give us, but we don't want to overdo it because you will potentially can ruin the wine altogether. Okay, so 2 cloves on the top, and we're going to bring that to boil. Okay, and make sure that our dates are really softened up, okay? So guys, we brought this to the boil, okay? Leave it boiling for a little bit, couple of minutes will do. When it's done, guys, you'll notice that they'll lose all their skins, and as soon as you touch them, the skins are kind of falling off, so it's all separating together, okay? They're not going to total mush the pieces there, but it is good enough. And you will notice that your wine or juice, in fact, actually has changed color and is gone into that woody browny color rather than bright burgundy. So now the water is hot. Okay, we're going to be adding on our 1 kilo of sugar. I'm just using plain white sugar. Obviously, the reason, guys, we're doing this 1 liter at the time is just so we can dissolve the sugar easily. Okay, so in that goes. So guys, sugar is now all dissolved, so we can turn the hob off. So let me get my brewing bucket and we put it all together. Okay guys, so we're ready to go. Okay, so I've got my bucket that is disinfected. Next thing we're going to do, guys, let's put some juice in there. Okay, so final one is in. And if you follow it, of course, goes without saying, I get splattered in the face, but that happens in every brewing video. It's kind of my thing now. So anyway, right, so the juices are in. And now, this is now cooled down a little bit. We're going to put this in our bucket. Okay. It's not over. Right, okay. So we're in. Let's give it a good mix. Okay, so next step is, guys, like with anything, let's take a reading. Okay, so one of those. You can see how dark the color is, okay? That's enough. So we're approximately on 1.110, okay? So we'll put that aside. So next thing, we're pitching the yeast. As I said, I'm using a Lalvin EC1118, one of those, okay? And whilst the brew is still warm, we're going to sprinkle that, which is ideal. We should be getting this at the ideal temperature, between 18 and 24 degrees, which it should be. Okay, so sprinkle that on the top. Okay, give it a mix up. A gentle one. You can just leave it on top, that's absolutely fine. Okay, and now, guys, this is fun. We get the lid on. Okay. I normally put my starting gravity, I should have dried that, starting gravity on my bucket. Okay, SG. Okay, this is just purely if you forget, I just like to write it on the bucket and then you can just wipe it off with the alcohol wipe. Anyway, I'm going to put the water in my airlock and put it inside, and it's going to sit there for probably 5 to 7 days. And then obviously we're going to have a look, see what the condition of it is, and we're going to rack it up, and whether we use bentonite or not, we don't know. All depends on the temperature, how long it will take, and sort of what the results will be. So anyway, guys, I shall see you in a few days. So guys, the week have passed, so let's get the wine opened up, okay, and see what that looks like. So all the prunes are now floating at the top. Okay, looking good. Okay, so it still smells a little bit like the initial juice. However, it does start to smell a bit like wine. So, as I said, normally I like when I put the mash or when I put any of the solids inside my brew, within a week I would like to get this out. So today will be the day. But of course, let's give that a try and see what the color looks like now. Is that generally, obviously, it will lose that depthness, okay? Depthness? It will lose the depth of the juice, so it'll become more like a wine, okay? Right, let's get a little bit. Okay, so it's obviously still cloudy. We've still got work to do. Hopefully get to see that. Right, let's give that a try. Okay, that's good. Definitely taste the prunes. Definitely taste the prunes. And exactly, as you can see, but we'll get to see that later when it's done. The color, you'll have a slightly brown tinge to it. At the moment, it still tastes quite sweet. Obviously, it's still got sugar. It's not finished fermenting, but as we said, I wanted to get it out there. That actually felt quite strong. Right, anyway, so what I'm going to do next, guys, is I've got my demijohn. I have to use a siphon and transfer that into the demijohn. So let me get this done off camera and I shall see you in a second. So guys, all done. Okay, you get to see the color a little bit better now. There is obviously some residue left in there. I can't fit it in there, so I'll leave this in. I'll strain this and I'll just end up making the vinegar out of it. And another word of advice, guys, if you are doing your siphoning, just make sure that you aim your end of the siphon actually in the demijohn and not on the floor, okay? Anyway, so all we're gonna do, guys, I'm gonna put the airlock in here, I'm gonna add some water, and it goes back in a warm place for another couple of weeks. So I'll see you when it's cleared up. So guys, 4 weeks later, and it's finally finished fermenting. It took approximately a week longer because unfortunately we actually lost the hot water and heating for over a week. All my brews are normally kept in the utility room when we have a boiler, which keeps the temperature just over 25 degrees, which means that I ferment the stuff much faster. However, without having a heating and hot water, that room gone really, really cold. And on the top we had a really cold snap. It was that cold that my brew actually stopped fermenting. And when I see this now, honestly, I started to really worry, because I know sometimes if it stops fermenting for quite a long time, it might not necessarily resume, even with adding on some extra yeast. However, the boiler got fixed, everything fixed, and it started fermenting again. So generally it would take 3 weeks, but in my instance it took 4 for the obvious reason. So as you can see, right, it's changed in color quite a bit. And I did say to you guys, when I transferred this last time, I did have approximately a litre spare. And I said I'd probably end up doing some red wine vinegar, because I really don't like to waste. So I've dispensed what I had in a wine bottle. And because I haven't had the airlock small enough to fit in here, yes, I know you can cut the thing, but nonetheless, I decided to actually put the theory to test of using a rubber balloon. And yes, it did, guys, it actually worked. And it did blow up and kind of, you know, did what I needed to do. So that looked like that's actually stopped fermenting pretty much at the same time. Whether I make a vinegar with it or going to be adding on to this, I don't know. But as we see here, guys, it is still not perfectly clear. It's got a lot of sediment at the bottom, okay? I kind of expect it to be a little bit clearer by now, but what I'm going to do, generally you can leave this in like I used to do, leave this in the demijohn, but I feel the need that I want to rack this one more time. There is quite a bit of sediment there. Okay, so I want to get this all out, get it my, you know, seal of approval like I normally do before, just to see what it really tastes like and see what sort of the gravity we have, see what sort of the volume we're expecting or percentage. So without further ado, let me get this open and we'll give it a taste. Initial gravity, if you remember, 1.110. Okay, it smells amazing. If, hold on, let's get some out. See if I can get in there. This is where I like to do the brewing bucket, but I mean, actually, it's quite clear when we put this in here-ish. Okay, right. Right. Okay, it smells very similar to the juice. It is not too bad, guys, actually not too bad. Very similar to the juice, but if you ever tasted any of the sort of candies or sweets or chewing gums that have grapes or pretend to be grapes, this is kind of the smell that you get. It is very good. It is, honestly, it's got quite a lot of nip to it, if that makes sense. Again, at the back of your throat. You do taste a bit of depth of the prunage, but I really get that flavor from that grape chewing gummy type thing. It's really amazing. I'm actually surprised. As I said before, I've done this before with the juices, but every juice is different, because I think this one was made with like a black grape, you know, the really dark ones. I think that makes a huge difference. I'm actually super impressed. Super impressed. So what I'm gonna do, guys, because I do have obviously 2 bottles there, I have washed another demijohn there. So what I'm gonna do, guys, let's first of all get some out, and let's get the gravity measure just a little bit and see where we're at. Okay, it tastes like it's, you know, it's finished fermenting. I haven't seen any bubbles for a while, so I love that color. And as I said to you guys, you can see that hopefully the prunes, given that the that slightly sort of woody color, if that makes sense. Here we go. We're finally floating. So we are on just between 0.990 and 1.00. So guys, that works out approximately 15.5%. Very surprised, this is actually the strongest wine I've made. And I think, thank God, that the yeast actually seem to be able to withhold that kind of percentage. It will change a slightly bit more because obviously after we racked it, it's going to sit a little bit more. So it will stabilize a tad more if there's any final fermentations there. It generally does sort of give us a variant between 0.5% and 1% on the last fermentation or on the last bottling. So we'll see what happens in the end. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to transfer what I have from here and potentially a little bit more from this bottle into another demijohn. So guys, there we are, I've just transferred it. One thing I wanted to point out is very important, especially if you're new to the brewing part, okay? Sometimes you might see a white residue developing on the side, and this is normally be quite a worrying part. I've had certain things happening before to my red wine where the bacteria develop, the one that kind of transfers your brew into a vinegar, and this also starts with a little white line. However, to distinguish the difference, guys, when you actually rack the wine, the one, if it's just the yeasty like bubbles that settled on the side, they will end up dispersing and just become into the powder and dissolved into your wine. However, if that kind of bacteria, the line will stay quite permanent or quite prominent. And when you look on the surface of the wine or whatever brew that you're doing, it'll look like it's have like an oil effect, like a slick on the top. It is going to be, if you shake in the bottle slightly, you will see it's moving like a film, like almost like a film on, say like on a stale milk, that kind of thing. So it's very important to keep an eye on that. It's only happened to me once, however, you do have to be really vigilant. You could still rescue the brew if that happens, however, really rarely normally gets to that stage that it just, the bacteria consumes the alcohol and basically makes it into vinegar. If you want to make vinegar, this is fine. But anyway, so I have, as you can see, transferred this into the demijohn. It already, to me, looks a little bit clearer. I'm trying to make the job as easy as possible in terms of not to be able to rack in it time and time again, so to sit in the demijohn or initial container as long as possible. But because I had this little film and it kind of started to worry a little bit, I wanted to make sure I transfer that. And as you can see, we do have quite a cloudy, manky thing at the bottom. So that's that, guys. Now this is going to be the final time it's going to be sitting in the demijohn, and next time I'll see you, we'll be bottling it up and giving it a final taste. See you then. So guys, it is time now to bottle it. I'm super excited. For the past few weeks, it just sat here on the kitchen because our idea was I let it sit there so we have more sediment, because every time I sort of moved it from pillar to post, it kind of brings it all up naturally. So it sat here on my kitchen worktop, and now I can see it's settled yet again, which is absolutely brilliant. The idea was, guys, so when we transfer this to the bottles, finally, we should not have any sediment whatsoever after the wine bottle age. So let's get this and have it to taster. It is just smells so amazing, guys. I wish it was a smell-o-vision. So let's give that a taste. Wow. Okay. Okay. Hopefully it's not changed a lot. Oh yeah, that is a good wine, guys. Not a lot changed, I gotta say that. It still has this sort of nip in the back of your throat. It is very sweet wine still, but it is very fragrant. I got to say this, guys. I'm super impressed, and considering it's come from a cotton juice, but I think it must be the variety of the grape that actually made it like that. Oh yeah, that is good. All right. Okay, so now we know it is acceptable. So let me go ahead and bottle it. Again, I'm using a basic siphon. So I'm just going to transfer this, and I'll show you what the color's like in those bottles. So guys, all done. 6 bottles and a glass. As you can see here, there is still sediment in there. Unfortunately, the wine is not as perfect, especially on the last bottle, as clearly as I still wanted. To be fair, probably could have sat there for another couple of weeks, but another project's kind of pushed this one along a bit, so they're going to be obviously nicely aging in the bar. Nonetheless though, guys, okay, it does look, the color looks really good, okay, especially the first couple of bottles. It's very clear, or as clear as it could be for the time being, and I'm really happy. As a flavor, sorry, because my thought got carried away, I think the reason it has this really perfumed and sort of weird, really sweet candy-like smell and a taste, I think it's the grape. If you ever know, sorry, I'm going to go on for a second, the grapes, there is the normal red grapes, and there is such thing as a black grape, and obviously on the picture of the carton it kind of looked like it's a black grape, and they have this really, really lovely smell and aroma about them. So I think this is why this one turned out to be so good. Of course, guys, different juices probably will taste slightly different, but the results nonetheless should be as equally as good. So my advice to you guys, what are you waiting for? Go and get some juice and start brewing. It's very, very simple and it's very, very tasty. So anyway, guys, I hopefully you enjoyed my video. Don't forget thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you haven't for more brewing recipes, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.